Hey, good morning, everybody. I am Mike Solomon. I am the broker in charge here at Coldwell Banker Advantage in Fayetteville. And I got with me Maggie McFadyen today. We're going to talk some real estate.
Yeah, woo woo.
So how you doing today?
I'm good. I had my first real estate injury today.
Oh, nice.
I was going to like a pre-walkthrough and was like wiping off the counters, and I had my spray and my rags, and I sliced my finger open. So now I'm adding Band-Aids to my what you need as a realtor.
I'd like always. What do you need? You need a couple things in your car. You need like one of them. Now he knows a first aid kit. So
Yes,
don't believe
yeah.
in that.
I have like lock boxes, all my signs, brooms,
Yeah.
counter cleaner. Yeah.
I've
Spray.
done a video at a house before, and I've fallen down the stairs with the video. So I mean, we could probably do a whole thing on like funny real estate things that happen. I've been doing some in October. I've been asking people like your scary horror stories, and I know you know Brian. If you check that one out, he's opening the door up, and the snake was like leveraged in at the door, and it fell on him. So yeah,
I was brave today. I picked up dead roaches with my hands, like my bare hands.
the things we do.
Yes.
So how long have you been in real estate now?
A little over a year.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
What got you into it?
Just like a whole life change in general,
Mhm.
but also I was a teacher in my past life, and sitting in the same room from 7 to 4 is not my jive.
Yeah.
So I came for the flexible schedule, or the ability to make your own schedule, but also I have some family in the business.
Yep.
And I love people.
Got some good real estate legends in our family in the business. And do you think that's helped you at all?
Oh my gosh, for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Being able to kind of like, hey, how do you do this? What happens here?
Yes. Well, I know that you're getting like a very fair answer.
Yeah.
And my dad is in commercial,
Yep.
so it's fun to pop into his office and talk about that. And then I can also call, my cousin or my uncle for the residential side. And
And
it's cool.
you've kind of dabbled in a little commercial already too,
Yes,
haven't you?
I have.
Yeah. So you've gotten to see like the residential and the commercial. And by the way, Maggie's sitting here in her first year and a half,
Yeah.
and she's done awesome. And that's why I wanted to get you in the podcast.
Oh,
So-
thank you.
And she actually we did a whole nother video that Maggie's actually featured in, which was during one of our training events where everybody kind of said what I do and how I do it. So
Yeah.
if like you're new, or even if you're an experienced agent looking for a little bit of a boost, check out that video. There's some great info in there. So,
Yeah.
all right. And you've been pretty successful. I'm going to kind of do a quick fire on you then.
Okay.
What now, you could watch this in 10 years from now or whatever, and the market's going to always change. We know that, right?
Mhm.
Have you seen any market shifts in a year and a half?
Yes. Well, when I first started, it was slow, but I think that's because I was new. The biggest thing I've noticed is, like, I guess starting about 4 or 5 months ago,
Mhm.
pricing was pretty competitive, and I feel like pricing has kind of like staggered,
Okay. Yeah.
especially with my new construction. Like, there was a time where we just weren't moving,
Right.
and so we did that big brokers open this summer.
Yeah.
And there's 3 builders in this neighborhood, and we all kind of did either a price reduction or a pretty significant like incentive rework. And so I would say like the tail end of the summer till pretty much right now, I just feel like pricing is not competitive. And so it's hard to get those comps because the market 6 months ago, I feel like you're kind of adjusting down right now.
Yeah. Well, you nailed it. I mean,
And like not having and only been in one type of market, because I am only in my first year, it's kind of been, I've been calling my cousin and then calling my uncle a little bit more and saying like, what would you price this at? Just kind of like check my brain too.
Well, that's a great point. Sometimes we price, and if you don't know, realtors don't give appraisals. We give what's the most probable sales price. And when we're in wacky markets, that's a very technical term, by the way, it's really hard to nail it down sometimes because we do our probable price based on the last 6 months.
Right.
And as of now, if you're looking, we're at the end of October 2025, and we are in the middle of a government shutdown. How that affects us is still kind of, it's new. It's 3 weeks into it, but those things sometimes don't percolate until after a while. Yeah. So let me ask you this. You get a new buyer today that's Maggie, I'm ready to go home shopping. I want to get out there. We need to be in a home soon. What is some advice you're giving them? Like, how are you getting them ready to get into the market?
Yeah. Well, I always think like, what's their motivation? How fast do we need to move?
Yeah.
And then I think once you bring a buyer into the house and they fall in love with it, your first question is, okay, well, how bad do you want it?
Yeah.
Because I'm going to go and do my price research, like with my CMAs, and pull the comps and stuff, and give them my opinion of the price or what the data says, and then they kind of have to make that final decision of
absolutely, yeah,
how bad do you want it, and okay, let's adjust for the shift in the market that's been the last 3 to 6 months, where prices are kind of being reduced and houses are just sitting because nobody wants to pay that much. Or they make the offer and the seller doesn't want to accept that prices have lowered.
So it's not a cookie cutter scenario.
Yeah.
It's not everybody. One thing I really want to key in, you mentioned, what are their real motivations here? It's not just all about, hey, what do you want to offer today? How much closing costs you want to ask for? How do you factor that in? So if I tell you, hey, I got 90 days, how do you look at the unabstract pieces other than the sales price and concession?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and you going back to how bad do you want the house? So for example, I had clients, they're like my OG clients, that I got them right at the beginning, and we still talk about houses, but also about their kids and stuff. But they were able to buy a much more expensive house than what they got, but because they were moving here for work and they had to have a house, like they bought a house that they didn't necessarily love. They bought it to make it work. So when we were writing that offer, we were kind of like, okay, well, let's just factor in that this isn't going to be where we're going to be forever. It's just what we have to have right now, because that's what is available in our market. And so,
looking at the whole picture of your situation. Yeah. So if I come to you and I'm a buyer and I find this house and we've got it, let me paint a scenario for you. You call it the listing agent. That's something we do. We make a courtesy call or something like that. Say, my client's going to probably be writing an offer on it. We'll get back to you. And you sit down with a client and they're like, Maggie, I love this house. I cannot go without this house. I want to die in this house. It's my dream house. Very different approach, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So we may look at sales price different. We may look at concessions different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and that my brain totally shifts from, okay, let's try and get you the best deal, to okay, let's not overpay, so that if something happens and you do have to resell quickly, you're not in a hole. But kind of okay, well, still how much? What's the price of how much you want it?
Kind of like, hey, Mr. Buyer, Mrs. Buyer, how much do you really want the house?
Yes. And also, hey, agent, how many offers do you have?
Yeah.
Because that kind of adds to your
so we got
as well.
Days on market is a factor, right? We've got how many offers are on the table. We've got repair and conditions are factors. So many different things we got to sit down. I remember when I would sit down with a client and write an offer, I would go through our offer documents in order. And I would say, okay, first things up is our sales price. What do you want to do?
Yeah.
And I wait for the response of it. Like, Mike, what's it going to take to get it? What's a good offer I can put in? Or how low can I go? It really lets you know about their motivations too. I've literally had somebody say to me, I don't care. I'm not paying full price for anything ever in my life, whether it's a car or house, you know? So I like that. Just the big picture of it. So let's flip it over. You're representing a seller.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what kind of expectations are we setting right now? You're listing the house. It's on the market day one today. All right, Maggie, what can we expect? What are we looking at? How long are we going to have a house sold? What's the big picture on the seller side then?
Yeah. Well, I don't like to overpromise. So I might say, well, that's a great question, because the market's kind of wacky right now. But I'm actually about to list a house in Van Story, and I was talking to a coworker earlier. I said, this is what has sold. This is what's selling right now. This is the max that I would feel comfortable putting it on the market for, and just telling that seller, could you sell it for this? Probably, because it's going to be move-in ready. There's just so many factors to it, but
but you nailed it. That's exactly what I'm looking for in this conversation, is that there are so many other factors out there besides what we see on TV sometimes. let's go look at 3 houses. Great. What do you want to offer? Hey, you got your offer. You didn't. There's so much that's left out in context there. And again, that buyer that's, I've got to be in a house in 30 days. I'm only going to be here for 3 years. I have a very different approach to, I'm looking for my last house that I want to die in.
Yeah. Well, and if your seller is in the position where they can be a little bit more leisurely with the list process and well, we do want to make the landscaping look better. We do want to repaint. We do want to, kind of be able to advertise it as move-in ready.
Yeah.
Whereas sometimes you get a seller who says, I'm over this. I just want it gone, list it. And then, as an agent, that kind of makes it harder I love decorating. I love the design and I love, the aesthetics of it all. So when you have a seller that doesn't want to mess with anything, you kind of have to change your approach.
The whole thing.
The way that you list and all that as well.
The consumer's got to see however they're approaching it, they got to see a value in it. They got to feel the value. Not necessarily feel like they got a deal,
right?
But they want to feel they got a value. Yes. I always think about that, like when I buy a car or something off Facebook Marketplace, I don't necessarily want to feel like I won, but I want to feel like I've gotten a good, fair exchange of value. So sometimes that house that might need some love or doesn't have all the bells and whistles, the value can be there in other ways and other incentives and concessions and stuff. Okay.
Yeah, and I love concessions.
Yeah. Concessions really can make a deal work sometimes. Sometimes if we're spread out, right, on a sales price, when we say, okay, well, what do you, back to when I sat with somebody, all right, here's your sales price. Cool, you want to offer $250. All right, so that next line, what are our concessions? What do you want to ask for? Are you guys paying your closing costs or not? And they're like, oh, we weren't planning on that. Okay. Well, then we need to go back and have a discussion about the sales price a little bit more.
Yeah. And I always like to plant that seed of the repair negotiation then as well.
Yep.
Because you don't want to over ask to where you, put a bad taste in the seller's mouth before you even put the offer in front of them. I'm assuming I'm representing the buyer at this point. Because then I also say, well, they don't have to repair it. They can sell it as is. Yeah. But if walking through, there's things that you're going to want repaired, or if we know, that looks a little iffy, we'll need to see what the inspection says about that. I like to send that premise of, okay, well, once you get that inspection, how much are you going to want to ask for?
Yeah, absolutely. Bigger picture. Yeah. All right, let's get over to real estate now, 1.5 years, kind of a family business in a lot of ways. What have been some challenges? So again, very successful, definitely on a great trajectory. What have been some challenges you've had?
Yeah, I think, I could talk about the challenges of asking advice from my father, and he's commercial, and I have learned that's a whole different beast.
But I'll say before you get into it, it is not uncommon for people to get involved in the business because they know somebody, whether it's family or friends. So this is actually, it's not an everyday occurrence. I just got out of the Army and got into real estate. I didn't know anybody in real estate. But a lot of people, we were just sitting with Brian Moore, and Brian actually owned a real estate company with his grandmother for a while, So, so talk about it.
My dad is super smart and has done well. And I was very supportive.
How long has he been in real estate?
He probably a little over 20 years. He was really supportive of my transition. And it's really nice on the commercial deals that I do have. He's my go-to contact for, let me practice this, this speech.
Let me throw a scenario your way.
Yeah. I think my seller is going to call me and ask this. Let me run through this with you. Yeah. But
don't worry, we all do it one form or the other.
But sometimes that family work relationship, it's great. But my dad and I are very, very alike. And so sometimes I say, well, this is what you need to say.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm going to take that and magnify it. I'm going to put my little spin on it. I think one of the harder things, another challenge was my dad actually hired me on to sell a house that he bought, but with the intent to turn right back around and sell.
Okay.
And so this was actually a really good lesson because it was family. I wasn't communicating as professionally, I guess. I wasn't saying, hello, Mr. McFadyen.
Yeah.
How's your property? How does blah, blah, blah. It's like, hey, Dad, pass the bread.
Yeah.
By the way, this house has ants.
Yeah.
And then we kind of got into that blurred line of like, because I'm the agent, but my client is my dad and my family, who's responsible for fixing the ants?
Yeah.
Is it my responsibility or is it his? And
Yeah.
so that was actually a really good lesson, that despite if it is like a friend or if it is a stranger or if it's a friend of a friend, like my dad and I had to like have a meeting where like we talked about what's my job as the agent, what's his job as the homeowner.
Yeah.
And this was kind of a weird transaction anyway, because he'd never lived in the home.
Yeah.
Bought it with the intent to turn it right back around and sell it. But that was a really good lesson for me, because, you know, I want to be as professional as possible, whether it be for my dad or a friend or a stranger. And that was just a good, like, I was probably 6 or 7 months in at that point. And actually, I would say that he was one of my more difficult transactions, mainly just because I think this house had a curse on it. I was more annoyed at the property than I was at my dad. But yeah, that was just a good lesson to always, you know, stay professional, keep those boundaries of like, what's my role as the agent? What's my role as, you know, your role as the owner? Put it all, it's sold, we're good.
Right on.
Yeah.
What is something that, having family background and seeing real estate through different lenses and then getting started in it, what's maybe one thing that, like, quote unquote, they don't tell you about real estate that you found out?
That some days you just do this.
Yeah.
Like in the very beginning.
Yeah.
And I was like, what am I supposed to do today?
Yeah.
I've gone on Instagram and liked all these things. I've made my posts about, you know, oh, I'm in real estate. And I think like just, I think I was I think I thought, oh, I'm moving back to my hometown.
Yeah.
People know me. I know people. I'm going to just go for it. And people are going to start calling me. People are coming up to me and they're saying, oh, you're in real estate. We're so happy for you.
Yeah.
And then my first transaction ever was actually from calling a FSBO. And
for sale by owner, by the way.
Saying, I really want your business.
Yeah.
What do you need the commission to be for me to be competitive and be your agent? And that's how I got it.
Yeah.
And so I think my biggest, what do they not tell you about it, is how much behind the scenes work it is, and how it's a little uncomfortable putting yourself out there at first. But the only person that's uncomfortable with it is me.
Yeah.
Nobody else came up to me and was,
smiling.
your social media is weird. You're posting too much. Like, you're actually not.
Yeah.
And I learned as I got more and more into my, you know, career, that if people were walking up to me and we had a conversation and they didn't know that I was doing real estate, that I had not done enough.
Yeah.
Because people should know.
I totally am smiling because I completely relate to that personally. I think that, to sum that up, and I agree, and my experience is the same, the things they don't tell you about real estate is that it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard.
And it's uncomfortable.
Yeah. And I think the problem is it's relatively easy to get into it. You know, of course, and a couple tests, which at the time you think's really tough. But generally compared...
Here's the timeout. Note. If you are new, I did not jump right into my post-licensing.
Yeah.
And I don't think that was incorrect, like, because I like that now I know what they're talking about. But I do think I waited too long, because now I am so busy that I'm kind of like, oh my gosh, I don't even have time to do this.
Yeah, so
don't wait super long.
What she's talking about, if you're watching this video, is that in North Carolina at least, and I'm pretty sure most other states have a similar path, but we got to do 75 hours of pre-licensing in a classroom environment. It can be online now. We got to take a test for the class. Then we got to take a state test, which has a national part to it as well. So then you're a licensed real estate broker, but you're provisional, which means you have to, you know, have your hand held in some aspects. Then after that, you've got 18 months to get 3 post-licensing classes done, a total of 90 hours. Then you're what's called a full broker. So that's what she's talking about, is the education part. And I literally tell people that, all right, I don't want you to like rush and get it done right now, but I also don't need you to wait till the last minute, because when you get busy, it gets in the way.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm not at the last minute yet, but I am feeling I need to get
Yeah,
this done.
yeah. Yeah, because North Carolina has no contingency plans. When you don't do it, you're like out of real estate, and you don't want to find yourself there. Yes, yes. Too late. We're not going back at this point.
Yeah.
But that's some great tips. But yeah, like I said, I really agree that it's hard, but everything to get professional level is hard.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody walks into, physics, medicine, car sales, or anything that we get into as careers and just master it on day one. And that's the one big message that I try to share with new brokers, no matter where they're at, is there's no easy button. You're not walking in and somebody's not giving you a book of leads and saying, here, call. A bunch of these people are ready to buy houses. You can have some really good luck really quick, but also it takes work. And I hear that a lot. That's a big thing, that when new brokers get involved and they get in process, they are like, what's next? Okay, what do I do? Yeah, this Mike guy is telling me to do A, B, C, and D, but I don't know where to go from here.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and because I was a teacher, it's not like I had this huge savings account.
Yeah.
Fluff pillow, I was like, okay, I need to get in there and get busy. But then also, to get those leads, a lot of people say, oh, pay for this on Zillow or pay for these here. And I quoted it once and they quoted me $700 for a zip code I was not even familiar with. And I thought, no. Yeah. And so because I did have more time and I wasn't busy, I got involved on a committee. I was on the Botanical Gardens garden gathering. I helped with that. And I wore my name tag when I was there. And I got a job at a local boutique in Haymount, Betty Kelly's. And everyone that walked in there, oh, yeah, I'm back in town. What do you do for work? Oh, what do I do for work? I'm a realtor. You want my card? Here you go. Or I get their name, and then I'd write them a note and say, it's so great seeing you. Yeah. Thank you for shopping local. If anyone needs a home, here's their card. Like, it was lovely seeing. Or sometimes I wouldn't even say that, but just like putting my name back in their head. Yeah. So, also being a new agent, I really think it's important to think outside of the box. And there's so many free ways to do that. Yes, 100%. And my huge mantra of real estate is it's the business of people. Yep. You have to be able to know people and read people and be available for people. There's, I think, two kinds of agents, and there's some middle ground too. There's a relationship-based agent that their business is based on building relationships and continuing those relationships after closing. Yeah. And then there's what we all call transactional agents that find a deal, close it, move on to the next deal, and they don't capture in that relationship. And they can be successful too, but that well will run dry at one point of the people that if you don't keep expanding. And I think that is probably one of the biggest prospecting methods that are underrated and people don't do is networking. Joining foundations and boards and getting involved and talk to people. Right. If you can talk to people, you can sell real estate. Yeah. Yeah. Well, and by having that network, it also makes your buyer or your seller feel like they've made a good choice. Yeah. It's fun when I am showing people properties, like as buyers. I say, oh, well, so-and-so lives in that house, and my dad went to high school with that person. They live there, and oh, you want to go eat at this restaurant because they're local. Like, it just makes them feel like you really know your area as well. Yeah. Not necessarily, know your market and your, the stats of real estate as well. But, buying a house is great, but then you have to have a life with that house and around that house. Exactly. We got to be able to say, hey, life too. Mr. Buyer, starting your real estate journey today, just to let you know, the average days on market for a house are 55 days. We got to know stats and numbers and things like that too, but we also have to know our community, and we have to be able to tell stories, say, that's where this happens. And did you know about the Dogwood Festival? The Botanical Gardens, that is one of the coolest. It's not a kept secret, but it's one of the best kept secrets in Vegas. Yeah, right? Yeah. And it's Halloween. They have a great Halloween show. The Botanical Garden. And then they have a great holiday lights as well. So
When my kids were young, we went to every single botanical gardens, every Christmas one. Like they loved it. They loved it. Cool.
It is, and that's a great closing gift. Is the like a 1-year membership?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you got to sell your city. You got to know your city. Tell the stories. It's about relationships.
That's right.
So thinking back to when you were staring at the walls, what changed your mind though? What made you say, "I got to get up and go"? Mm-hmm. What pushed you? Was it just a self-realization, or did somebody say, "Maggie, get off your butt and go talk to people"?
Well, a little bit of both.
Okay.
Because I don't like to stand still.
Yeah.
Or sit still or do nothing.
Yeah.
But also, I was talking to somebody about it. I don't remember who said it, but they were like, if you're sitting in your office all day, you're not doing your job.
Yeah. Because
people aren't walking into Coldwell Banker saying, sell my house or
modern day,
bring me to a house.
Great point. Let me time you out real quick is that modern day real estate is people don't walk into we get them. We get walk-ins here where they're like, hey, I need an agent. I'm selling my house. But those are rare. Right. People are they're finding you through word of mouth or online or something like that. Mm-hmm. So yeah, sorry to interrupt, but
no, you're good.
Yeah, those days are gone. Sitting in a real estate office has value in other ways. Side note, if you're new in real estate, you need to be in the office learning the language of real estate. But on the flip side of it, if you're sitting in the office staring at the walls to just check the box of showing up, again, you have a better chance of something happening if you show up, whether it's the office, an open house, wherever. But you got to do more. You got to take, like you said, proactive action. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, you're good.
Really love that thought. Yeah.
Well, you talking made me think, okay, that was what else did I do? Yeah. So, open houses were a great way to.
All right, let's go. Let's just jump right into open houses.
Okay. It's great social media content when you have no listings or closings. It's a way to look, play the part of, I know what I'm doing.
All right. I want to dig into open houses. Opportunity time. I told you we might talk about anything. There are a group of agents, probably nationally, I know locally, I know even at this office, it's always about 50-50. It's like politics almost. There's a group of agents that says open houses don't work. Don't waste your time. Don't do them. Mm-hmm. There's another group that says they are the best thing since sliced bread. You want to meet somebody, set it in an open house.
Right.
What are your thoughts?
I do not think that they're the best thing since sliced bread, but I think, continuing the metaphor, I think if you choose your bread wisely,
love it.
You can make toast. I did open houses probably like once a month for like 4 or 5 months. I either did like 1 or 2 or whatever, but like 1 or 2 a month for 4 to 5 months.
Yeah.
And I never had any sales come to fruition from them, but it was a great way in the beginning to build my sphere of influence, to, busy myself with following up. And it was great practice of just talking to strangers about real estate. So I think 100%, if you're a new agent or an agent that's not that busy, to go and do them.
At least try.
Yeah, try. I mean, I should probably do more open houses.
Well, you even mentioned something that made me start talking about open houses. You built social media content from it. Tell me more.
On Wednesday, you post on your story, open house. On Thursday, you make a post for it and you give all the details, and then that's a post.
Yeah.
And then on Friday, before your open house, you put the hard eye scroll bar,
so
how cute is this house? Or are you coming to my open house? And that's an engagement. And
pure free marketing.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
So even if I go through that and set up and not a living soul comes in, I've gotten out there. I put myself in a position where I could meet somebody face to face. I got social media information. I've blocked the time to do extra things. There's a lot of benefits.
Take a chair.
Yeah. Yes.
I learned that the hard way.
All right. So I'm going to give my little open house story. So when I started real estate, I was just like you're talking. I was like, what's next? What do I do? There's nobody giving out this book of leads. And I had a really great trainer. She said, go, you're going to sit in my listing. It's an open house. I had no listings, no inventory. And I sat in that open house if it was dark out, if it was light, if it was snowing, if it was raining. I didn't have anything else to do. I'm in the camp. I love open houses. got my first sale from it. I marketed it. I met so many people from the neighborhood. I built my database from it. I did very little video at the time because it wasn't as big as it is now. But for me, and just education, when somebody did come in and I talked to them, I was able to evaluate my conversation and say, okay, Mike, you're getting into sales now. You're learning how to talk to people even. How did that go? And I'm like, oh, that went really well. Like I built some rapport with them.
Yeah.
I think it's a good thing. But I did open houses like a banshee because that's all I could do. It was free, it was easy, and it was fast. I probably could have been more strategic about it, better advertising. But my open house was in a great location, and it helped. One of the things became the foundation of starting my business. But I also see people try like one open house and say, oh, I didn't have anybody and never do it again either. So I don't think you're capitalizing if you do it like that on the whole, the holistic part of the open house and how it can benefit.
Yeah.
How does an open house benefit a seller?
Well, from an agent, it proves to your seller that you are trying to sell their house. Yeah. But when there's an open house on Zillow, which is where most people like scroll for their houses, it pops up as an open house. So then it's giving them extra exposure as well.
Yeah.
And you never know. I mean, you never know when that person's going to walk in and say, "This is my house.
Yeah,
I want it."
Yeah. Now we get clients over the years of doing this have specifically asked for them. And every agent's different. And I'll say at the end of the day, it probably isn't going to be the determining factor if your house is going to sell or not. So sellers, if your agent and their marketing plan doesn't have an open house in it, they're not a bad agent at all.
No, not.
They have different methods that they're looking for, and a lot of times the open house doesn't benefit the seller. It's extra marketing. I got it online. Like you said, Zillow's going to have it. It's going to be in top interest, and it can add an additional exposure to a house. But I don't think it's necessarily the is it going to sell or not if I do an open house?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think that's the way that it should be approached. Like, to sell my house, I need an open house.
Right.
No, but if you're in a neighborhood and your neighborhood has sidewalks and on Saturday mornings everyone's out walking, have an open house, because if anything, a nosy neighbor might walk in. That nosy neighbor might have a friend. That friend might have someone that needs the house, and
that's how it's.
And then it's So, yeah, open houses are great.
Yeah,
I didn't have a ton of luck with them, but could I do more? Yes. You might have inspired me to do an open house.
Maybe we'll see. Should if I got a new buyer, like your advice to maybe a new buyer that doesn't have an agent yet, should they go to open houses?
Why not?
Why not?
Yeah.
You can meet a great agent, see a house you love. Yeah. I think it's a great thing for a buyer to, if they're just thinking and exploring, one, be ready. That agent wants to work with you. They're gonna try to get you.
Yeah.
But I also think sometimes it's like car shopping in a way. There's if I want a 4-door sedan, there are 5 or 6 different options, if not more, from Honda to Hyundai to Ford. Sometimes you just gotta go feel it. Yeah. You got to say, do I want a ranch house or do I want a T-story? Do I want this older home or do I want a new construction? So I think even if you're just thinking about real estate, number one, call your agent up. Get your good agent that'll have your back. Call Maggie. But I also think, you should probably explore them a little bit and see what's out there.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and it's like you think you know what you want, and you make that list of this is really important to me.
Yeah.
And then you might walk in that house and fall in love with something else and say, oh, well, maybe a garage isn't that important.
Yeah.
Or, oh, maybe a carport will work. I don't need the full garage.
Yeah. So. I've definitely seen that.
Yes.
I have shown the first house that I've met this first home buyer at, and it was a ranch in Rayford. And then as the weeks, maybe months went by, I found out they had closed on a 2-story in Eastover. So sometimes you just got to put your foot in the water and get started somehow. And let your criteria evolve. You might have criteria that's impossible, not available in a North Carolina market, but you got to see what's out there. Right. You don't want to just give up one piece of your dream criteria and say, okay, agent, find me this, I'll give up. You want to find out what you really want, what you really need.
I agree.
Okay, anything else on your mind? You want to talk about real estate?
It's a great job. I am so happy with my transition from teaching to real estate, and if you are new and you're thinking about it, go for it, but it won't be easy. You got to push yourself out of your comfort zone for sure.
Work ethic's probably one of the biggest factors.
Yep.
I'm going to hit you with a hard one here. Where do you think in the next year from now, no wrong answers, in the next year from now, you and me are sitting here in October 2026, what do you think the housing market looks like?
I am going to be optimistic, and I think it's just going to take off. I think interest rates are going to go down finally, well, more than they already went down.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be so busy.
Right on.
That I'm going to say, come on, Mike, let's do this so I can get back to my.
Yeah. So you're like, Mike, I don't got time for a podcast.
Yeah.
No, I agree with you. I think that everything's pointing to 2026 being pretty positive. Again, you could be watching this from a couple years from now or a couple weeks from now, and who knows what can happen. That's one thing about real estate is that it's affected by so many unabstract pieces,
right? From
politics to finance to geopolitical issues, and we're Fort Bragg's right up the road here, so something like that can affect us. But I think all things are pointing to 2026 being a really strong recovery year. Maybe not getting all the way into a buyer's or a seller's market, but I see it staying pretty balanced. Yeah. So, all right, Maggie, I really enjoyed sitting with you. Tell everybody.
So much fun.
Yeah, we're gonna definitely do more. Tell everybody how to get a hold of you, where they can find you at if they want to work with you and ask you questions. Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, Maggie McFadyen. You can find me on Instagram at Maggie McFadyen Realtor, 910-309-9598. I will answer. If I don't answer, leave me a voicemail and I'll call you back. My email is maggiehomescba.com. And you can't go wrong with Coldwell Banker Advantage.
Right on. I did a little short I put out a little while ago, and it said what's the signs of a bad agent, and how to find a good one. And it was communication. I can tell you, reach out to her, you'll hear back from her. And that's one of the big problems with realtors out there is that they don't always pick up the phone. And that can be frustrating. But again, my name is Mike. I'm the broker in charge here at Coldwell Banker. The office number is 910-483-5353. And if we can ever help you out here at Coldwell Banker in any way in real estate, give me a